Hello, my name is Kat. If you are new here, welcome to this little space. If you're returning, it's lovely to see you again. I hope that no matter what you are up to, you are doing okay. Better than okay ideally, but at minimum okay. I've been really excited to film. I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on kind of in unison. Today's going to be just kind of a normal knitting-y podcast type situation. I have two finished objects and a pattern release to discuss. Hello you! Do you want to come up? That is my feline familiar Audrey, who might join us. Do you want to come up? Come on. You might be able to see just a little ears. Hi! I know, look at all that knitwear to sit on. And yeah. So today I am wearing my Hobbiton vest by Fable Knitwear. It was knitted using a strand of Highland 4-ply that Alex dyed, my husband, and a strand of mohair from Knitting Nakabi, which is a naturally dyed yarn. I really like this pairing and I really like the outcome of this. I wear it quite a bit, but I don't think I've actually shared it over here. I don't know why. Happened a while ago, like probably a year ago. And it has these tiny little buttons, a fake placket down the front, which is sensible because, I don't know, I just don't think I'm generally a button person, but that might change. Hey! She's really happy. I wish I could show you her better. Yeah, and I'm also wearing a hand-woven skirt that I sewed. It was the first kind of major project I did with my rigid heddle loom that I got a year and a bit ago. I love this skirt. I made a matching top out of one piece of fabric. I was really pleased. There was, I think, like 4-inch square of fabric that I didn't use, otherwise I used everything. Inspired by the lovely Marina of the Marina Skewer podcast and Marina Skewer yarn of the same name, and also gorgeous knitwear designer. I'm Marina if you end up here. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm wearing, I think. I've got some hand knit socks on, but I've spoken about them so many times that we'll skip that. Oh, you're so purry. So I've been really excited to share for a while, and because of that I imagine if there's anything that you would like answered about these that I'm otherwise not sharing, because, you know, it's been a while, just ask. I'm happy to try and answer any questions that you might have and fill in any gaps that I might have in my memory. I've been a little bit unwell, if I'm honest with you. Things are coming back, which is a bit of a problem, but hopefully it's something that we are on the way to mending, if you will. So, to start, hello. She's very distracting today. Isn't she? Are you so sweet? Yes. If she sits, you sits. Obviously, there's certain situations where you just get up, but you know. Okay. So this is the Dagmar, a pattern that my lovely local knitting friend brought to my attention. She sent me a post on Instagram and was like, oh my goodness, can we do a knit along? And I was like, absolutely. And since another friend of mine has knitted one, and said friend hasn't had space on her needles to cast one on, but hopefully she will. Initially I was hesitant because the pattern she sent me wasn't felted, and it was a knitted bum bag, and it didn't feel like it would be sturdy enough for the way I am with clothing. I wear stuff and I'm not afraid to wear it. I'm obviously careful and respectful, and I try and mend things, but you know, I wear them. I don't just knit something beautiful and keep it hidden away. And I just didn't feel like it would be robust. And then I had a little browse and I found the Dagmar, which is felted, and I had some drops. I think it's Nord, bit of alpaca in it, which is why this might not have felted as well as I would hoped, but we'll get to that in a bit. It has a smaller size. I'm going to have a little play, and I ended up casting on like straight away because I did want a car project that I could just knit in the car on the way to work. And it is about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning that we leave the house, so it's pitch black, which obviously knitting black is not necessarily ideal, but it was a super simple pattern and I knew I'd be able to do it. So I cast it on right away and it knitted up really quickly, like super quickly. It used 3 and a bit, I think, balls of, yeah, about 150 grams of yarn, because I did go down a needle size, and I didn't really modify. I did an accidental modification to it. So I knit the smallest size, went down a needle size, and I accidentally picked up too many stitches along the front. It's not the end of the world, it's just giving it a slightly different shape. I think we were watching Ring of Power and I just sort of got carried away. You know, these things are quite intense. And made that mistake, and actually it hasn't really affected it. I would note that down myself and not do that next time, because I do think Alex has wanted this. So I think this one might go to him. I might give it another felt because, like I said, it didn't felt as much as I wanted, and whether that's manually using a like needle felting tool or shoving it, I didn't put it in the wash the first time. I did it by hand and it wasn't enough, so I did just throw it in the washing machine, but I think it'll just make it a little bit more sturdy and neat and less likely to catch all the fluff that lives in our house. But I think it's a beautiful pattern. I did use the recommended zip size, and so did all of that as recommended. Very simple to follow. I found it a very simple pattern to follow. There is links to tutorials. They are no speaking, so if you're not that way inclined, I'm sure there's other tutorials available, you know, on the YouTubes. And then I used a buckle rather than doing a tie. I'm not really a bow person. I realised there's danglers on here. I wasn't sure that they were going to be there when I purchased this, but I love this little top. Just a second-hand bit of linen. I don't know, it just felt to make sense, and I recently had to say goodbye to a bag and kept all of the like fastenings, and it came in really handy. It's perfect. The strap is great because you can wear it across the shoulder or actually round the waist. But yeah, like I said, I am going to knit another one. I'm going to knit mine in Let Lopi. I think it will felt better. It will just be a bit more suitable for me personally. I don't think Alex is going to use this quite as much as I might, because I am trying my best not to keep lugging my life around with me when I go out. And this is a perfect size. I haven't put a water bottle in this one, but otherwise, like, I've been going to, the gym. I've been to the gym twice this year to use the sauna, and I've managed to put in a tiny little towel, hold my water bottle, and then all like my phone and my purse and a padlock in it, and it's like the perfect size. And the same for walks. Like, going into the park, which is something that I'm really actively doing. It's like the perfect size. I don't think I'd ever want a bigger one because I'd be inclined to do a backpack version, if anything. Just the nature of the fabric, it just doesn't make sense to my little pea brain. But yeah, really, really fun. I am really, really happy with this project, and like I said, I'm gonna probably knit it again. I think I have one more of these because the bag that I took this from has 2 straps. And yeah, I'll put in some footage of it in action because I do think that really, really helps. Yeah, I've really been trying to go to the park, and not just going to the park for a walk, but I've been kind of practicing almost mindful videography rather than photography, just as a way of making sure I am going out, because I know we're all like it. We can find it very easy to be like, no, we've got too many things to do, I've got to do the washing up, I've got to do the washing, and I may as well stay at home and the extra bit of work and feel really like I've achieved. But I think I just need to keep trying to get out of the house and doing the nice thing that makes me feel good. And you know, I think it's really helping me feel connected to where I'm from. I've recently read and reread Grounded by Ruth Allen, and it's a shortish book, about 4.5 hours on audiobook. I got it out from my local library twice. And it's beautiful. It's kind of how nature can be therapeutic in really practical ways, and it's just beautiful. And I've written down some of the quotes from it, which, because I'm cat trapped, I won't get out and read from you, but maybe in the future. But I'm actively doing a project because of this book that makes me feel connected to where I'm from. And I was having a chat with Alex. A lot of people have like a connection to a place or an ancestry or a culture, and I don't really know, like Hertfordshire, because it's on the cusp, especially where I'm from, it's like on the cusp of London. It doesn't really seem to have a feel or like a thing to be connected to. Like, I don't know, did we wear English smock dresses? Which I really want to learn to make one. Like, you know, in Northumberland you have the Northumberland pipes, you have different, like, you know, does that make sense? There's not even like it doesn't feel like there's a textile history here. I know we do paper, but that doesn't really feel. But yeah, I was just thinking about that and like the connection feeling lately, and that bag took me on a really lovely adventure, and I think that's maybe where I was going. So here she is, my next and final finished project that I'd like to share with you, and this is a hand-dyed, hand-spun jumper and hand-knitted that I am so grateful that I got to make. My lovely friend, who was also my current dungeon master, is that still talk about Dungeons and Dragons on here. We haven't played in a while, but life is lifing for all of us, and I believe that's happening everywhere. So if life's lifing, I'm sending you a big old hug. But Suze was kind enough to offer me half of her batch of fibre that she purchased from Blacker Yarns, or the Natural Fibre Company, who is also Blacker Yarns, who spin yarns, and they had some sort of second sale from what I gather, and they had a Jacob and Mohair blend, and if you've been here, you're probably bored of me saying those two words, but I love Jacob and Mohair together or separately, and I kind of felt like I should have spun yarn for socks because I think it would be the ultimate sock yarn for me personally. But because I was kind of given 500 grams, I thought a jumper makes a lot more sense. I guess I could have knitted a couple of pair of tights, but that's a project that will happen eventually. But yeah, I ended up dyeing this gorgeous fibre and then spinning it. I did give 100 grams back to Suze, dyed, just because I thought it would be fun and a nice thing to do, you know, give back and swap. But yeah, so I spun this as a fairly chunky 2-ply for me. It is an Aran weight, just it sort of meanders between heavy DK and Aran, and I'm really pleased with it. I've knitted this so it can be worn either way, so inside out or outside in, and I do tend to wear it with the picked up stitches for the collar on the outside, so on the inside you don't have this little ridge, but I really like the little ridge that it creates with the ribbing. It sort of breaks it up a bit more. And this jumper I used every single inch I could, which is why it's probably slightly shorter than what I would have done and modified in a way, because I do think I would have, if I had enough, swipped? Yes, I would have swipped where the knit and purl stitches are to do a kind of more defined ribbing. But I have to say, this accidental thing I've really enjoyed, because it gives a waterfall effect, and when I wear this, well, I wear, you know, dresses and skirts a lot, and if I'm not wearing those, I wear fairly high-waisted trousers, and this is kind of perfect. Because it hangs boxy, but it's slightly shorter at the front. I still have a bit of a waist, and it just hangs really nicely. It doesn't come in at all. It was a really pleasant outcome of, you know, kind of playing yarn chicken. But yeah, this is a basic raglan jumper. I did what I've been doing for loads of my jumpers lately, and I cast on the stitches for the neck and the shoulders, and then increase until I was happy. Then I joint it in the round and cast on stitches for the front. Then I increased knitting in the round, divided for the sleeves slipped straight down. I did do a little bit of decreasing, but about half the rate I would normally do, so it doesn't really come in too much, but just enough that it doesn't flop about too much. Such a child. And then I just knitted the body, doing a few short rows to create the waterfall effect. And I have to say, I really love this jumper. It sort of feels, well, I've kind of been describing it as my McGonagall Land Girl jumper. It's kind of got that feel. It is my favourite kind of colour. It's got a little bit of mossy green, but it's a deep forest green, and yeah. And it is very bouncy, which I'm surprised about, because having spun long draw a lot more lately, I think it could have been a lot bouncier if I'd have thought to do that. But we're still learning. I'm still really new to spinning, really. And I wasn't very creative with choosing techniques, but I'm thrilled with this jumper, and yeah, I'm really, really happy. I think Alex is due a handspun jumper, but we need to get a fleece that's big enough to do that with. But yeah, yeah, I'll put a few photos up because I don't know that I've got any footage of it in action, and pop it on and give you a little twirl when I'm not cat trapped. Which will be now for you, but who knows, I might be here for eternity. And then finally for today, I want to talk a little bit about my Hairst patterns. This always makes me a little bit nervous, but here we are doing the thing. We're trying to be a little bit braver, and these patterns featured in the Journal of Scottish Yarns issue 4. I believe that was autumn winter 2023, and once again Susan, who owns the journal, I couldn't thank her enough for, you know, inviting me to be a part of it. And it is a beautiful publication if you do enjoy reading about knitting and textiles, in particular very, very heavily focused on Scottish textiles. I would recommend it. It's a beautiful publication, it's printed beautifully, and she puts a lot of work into it. But if that's not, you know, in your budget, or you know, you're not that fussed and you do quite like these, the patterns are now available individually, and they are a jumper pattern and a shawl and scarf pattern. I don't have a version, a shawl and scarf, a scarf and cowl pattern. I don't actually have a version of the cowl myself, that might happen, but I do have a lovely big scarf. So the Hairst is a bottom up drop shoulder. It has a lacy texture at the base, which gives it a really kind of gentle cinching in at the waist, just gentle, which I really, really like, again, in particular with dresses, skirts, high-waisted trousers, and a very relaxed fit. It has slightly cropped sleeves that are quite oversized and boxy. I just wanted something a bit different, and I felt like it kind of balanced out the texture of the lace. It kind of, for lack of a better phrase, like it counteracts the total femininity of the texture. It kind of, yeah, I don't know, for me it just sort of balances it. But yeah. This one was knitted in Zakami yarns on, I believe, the BFL Gotland base, and this colour is Earth Scented Portrait, which is just a gorgeous name. And I knit this one size bigger than I normally would for me, so this is the second size with much more positive ease. I just know that these garments go to, you know, a magazine, and I imagined lots of people are taller than me in particular, so I did actually crop this one a little bit too. Just gives them a bit more freedom of bodies they can put it on, I think, having a not the smallest size. There's this one, and then this version, which was knitted first a long time before in Newton, and this is the smallest size, again slightly cropped. And I also held a strand of, it was a random merino singles that I just had that happened to be a lace weight, and I just thought Newton for me is not a very strong yarn, and I thought even though the merino singles isn't very strong, combined they would be, you know, much better. I would be inclined to use something more like Plutalope or the is it Hillesfog do a version? But something like that, a little bit toothier, and adding a fluff to it, or a, you know, a strand of ironbound, like a lace weight Lopi or that kind of thing, to make it sturdier if you want that kind of lightweight feel. Also, lovely Charmaine of Yarntings has a new Aran base, which is kind of perfect for it. Oh yeah, this is Aran weight. Because it is, I'm going to get it wrong because my brain, but it has linen in it, which kind of makes it warm and like, you know, a sort of comfort blanket and a hug, and it drapes really nicely, but it's not so warm that it's impractical for wearing in the house when the heating's on. We don't have ours on nearly enough, so poor Charmaine, when she does come here, has to leave layers on, but like that for me would be a perfect choice of yarn for this. And it also has a really great stitch definition, which shows off this texture really well. And I do actually now have my copy. It's issue 4. The lovely Charmaine of Yarn Things just popped in. She recently knit my Hairst. I'll put in a bit of footage of it. And yeah, I'm quite excited to have mine back. Weirdly, just before she arrived, after I'd like finished filming, I put on this, my Monair, which is actually using Charmaine's Fibre bat, which I spun up and then knitted with. And here is a little bit of the yarn I was talking about, and it is European wool and linen, and it's 70% wool and 30% linen, I believe. And this is the colour Bog Witch. Yeah, I thought I would quickly share that while I could. How serendipitous is that I got to have a little visit with my lovely knitting friend, and who came over with the yarn. And then this is the scarf version, which has the texture on either end, which is a texture that I just really enjoy knitting. I have knitted it again recently, and I'll share that with you maybe next time I record. This one is knitted using more Zakami yarns, and it is a DK and mohair. I love this colour. I think it's called Harvest Moon or Eclipse. I should have. I don't have access to the internet while I'm recording, which is really quite nice, but also kind of impractical. But I'll put the colours and the yarns on the screen for you. But I really do. I wasn't sure if I was a scarf person, but I'm not gonna lie. Since I got this back and it's been so cold, I've worn this scarf a lot. It's quite a nice alternative to always wearing shawls, which I do really like to be honest. But, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just, I really like it. And I've got to say, the mohair, it's just so warm and snuggly, and there's so many different ways of putting a scarf on. Like, I've been wearing it as a hood, and I do feel a bit like I belong in the woods when I wear it like this. But it also, because of the mohair and the silk, it's a lot softer on my hair, which, again, I really enjoy. Anyway, if you would like them, I will put the link in the description box. And as always, if I try and do my prices in line with kind of the standard. If they are out of your remit, do drop me a message, no questions asked. I will send you the PDF. If you've got Ravelry, if you have Ravelry, it's much more convenient for me to be able to gift it to you over there, because then you get any updates should anything, change. So yeah, I think that's everything for today. I do have, like I said, 2 projects that are bringing me lots of joy that I've been working on alongside these sort of projects. I have made some progress on a couple of other knitting projects that I will share with you next time. And yeah, I'm just really trying to work towards feeling a little bit better and making sure I'm getting outdoors as much as I can, even though it's really dark. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the woods today. I'm not going to the woods because it is a bit too dark, and I tend not to do the woods in the dark unless Alex is with me, but I might just get myself to the park and back today. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I hope that if you are working on some projects, they are bringing you lots of joy and some solace. Take care of yourselves and don't forget to love each other.